Welcome back, everyone, to the FloTrack podcast, FloTrackPodcast@gmail.com. I'm Kevin, joined by Gordon, who is coming to us live from the cozy confines of a Marriott somewhere in Virginia, Maryland. Where are you exactly?
Harrisonburg, Virginia, right outside the Shenandoah National State Park, or National State Park, just National Park. Got good internet in this hotel. Hopefully I don't pixelate too much. The TVs here, though, do pixelate because there's no HD television. It's an SD television, which means I was watching NBA on TNT like it was a video game. It was not fun to watch, but we're here going on a big hike later today after this pod. Jojo right now, though, is running to James Madison's campus to sneak onto their track to do a workout. Just a little perspective of our relationship. She's going to do a track workout right before we do a 7-hour hike. And I'm just doing a podcast before a 7-hour hike. So one is a lot more fitter than the other, clearly.
Well, physical exercise, mental exercise. I mean, people say 40 to 45-minute podcasts are the equivalent to a track workout for your vocal cords, maybe? I don't know. No one says that. What's the latest? I know we're going to talk about making some predictions for 2021 and the women's running events in the Olympic trials, but what's the latest here on this NCAA stuff? That your favorite topic, Board of Governor meetings, aren't really producing much.
Well, yesterday during the pod, we said that was the day, the D-Day. A week before that, we thought that was a D-Day, and they punted to yesterday. And then yesterday punted to apparently today, this morning. And this morning, they're probably on Central Time, so it's only 9:20 Central Time for them. They're going to make an announcement, and I don't know, man. They're probably going to kick the can again. So I'm sick of trying to think about whether or not they're actually going to make an announcement about whether NCAA cross country is happening. I mean, it's all centered around football. I had a big time track coach text me thinking it's not happening, and that, this whole, like, we talked about it, the Power Five trying to maybe do their own thing. Like if the NCAA does cancel, will SEC, ACC, Pac-12 be like, hey, let's do our own championships, So it'll be interesting. And even if that does happen, it'll be interesting to see if those Power Fives, if like Arkansas or like Oregon or Colorado waste a year of eligibility to win a Pac-5 Power Five title, right? Because would Arkansas want to, because they have a bunch of seniors. Arkansas is a good team. They have a bunch of Kenyan transfers. This was their year to be potentially not just podium, but maybe challenge BYU and NEU. I can imagine Arkansas will be like, is it worth trying to win that? Like, we could just come back all firing on all cylinders in 2021. Right. So I don't know. We'll find out. I'll keep refreshing my Twitter feed to find out when they're going to announce it. Hopefully we can break news on the pod. That'll be pretty fun, right? So I'll keep the Twitter feed updated.
The good news is that we do a daily podcast. So even if this happens an hour after we get done recording or 5 minutes after we get done recording, we'll be able to break it down tomorrow. One bit of news I thought that was significant in this whole picture was UConn canceling football, which that's the first FBS team to take that step.
And I'm assuming them canceling football also means that they're canceling cross country. They're canceling all fall sports. Is that safe to assume?
Yes, that is safe to assume.
Okay.
Let me double check on that. I know we talked about UConn specifically in their quest to save their program, their running programs, and they were able to save 2 of the 3 indoor and outdoor. Well, I guess you could say 5 of the 6 if you're counting men's and women's. Actually, I'm looking at this. It looks just like. Does it look just like football? I'm not sure.
The thing is, if it's all fall sports, that means the Northeast men's region is now down to 8 teams left in their region that has about 40 plus teams. There are only 8 left that are still playing cross country.
I mean, you mentioned before how this is just as of now, right? The cancellations are disproportionately geographically weighted to the Northeast, but it is remarkable when you actually look at that. What do you think what school or conference do you think would be the tipping point, the one that would have the most influence when it comes to other colleges?
I mean, it's all any of the Power Five, right? That's the tipping point, right?
Mm-hmm.
If one goes, they all go, right? I mean, SEC is probably the only one that would stand pat and be like, oh, we'll just do an intramural league and just play each other football all the time because they just love football. But I don't know. I mean, we've been talking about this so much. I kind of just want to wait till we get an answer so we can actually talk about definitive realities as opposed to projected realities, because we've been doing a lot of projecting of reality lately on the pod. Would you agree?
Yeah.
You did say rumor. Didn't you say? Did you rumor that Big Ten? Didn't you rumor Big Ten's going to cancel? Where'd you get that rumor?
I mean, from people, not people sources in the running world. Yeah, I'm not reporting this, but people outside the running world, were, I think they were saying of the Power Five, they would be the first one to withdraw. But was it yesterday? They announced, here's the Big Ten football schedule, conference only. Yeah. It's just, it's so confusing. I'm looking at the UConn release, and again, this happened just before we were recording, so I apologize for on the fly. It just says football, and it says it's canceled all competition for 2020 to 2021 school year. So that would mean no spring season for them as well, too, in case they were thinking of a spring season. So, yeah, I mean, of the Power Five, I would think the Big Ten would be the first one to go. Remember when we were at indoors, right? It was Big Ten and ACC at the same time who canceled first.
Yo, check this out. This was tweeted 22 minutes ago by Brett McMurphy, who works for a stadium. He's a college football insider. He wrote, Wisconsin says it's facing a revenue shortfall in the excess of $100 million. Best case scenario, with a conference-only schedule and limited capacity at home games, Wisconsin would still lose $60 to $70 million in revenue. So the school is now asking fans to donate to the Badger Legacy campaign. So, like, we've been spending way too much money as an athletic program on glitz and glamour and giant stadiums and brand new locker rooms and this, that, and the other thing. So, because of those decisions we made for the past 10 to 15 years, we're just going to ask people to donate more money to us. It's so stupid.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's going to be a hard sell. No, I'm going to say that's going to be a hard sell. We need to raise 60 to 70. Maybe, I don't know, maybe find 5 or 6 super rich people, but the average person who just wants the season tickets to cheer for their Badgers or whoever team they are, you're right. 60, 70 million is a lot to ask for. All right, let's do more projection about the future, but grounded a little bit more in things that we're familiar with, and that's actual results on the track. We're talking about the women's running events for next year's Olympic trials. We had planned to do this pod on July 3rd, according to my notes, and then it got pushed back. You kept wanting to do it. I kept saying, come on, Gordon, you gotta wait for the perfect time, And now, August 5th, the day is here for these predictions. How confident are you?
And it's not the perfect time, let's be honest.
No, I was kidding. Time. That was also sarcasm. Yes.
So what are we doing? We're predicting the Olympic trials top 3. Is that what we're doing?
Yes. So top 3. We'll discuss other people who we think would be in the mix as well too. But we're just doing the women's running events. We'll get to the other people later. But with women's running events, there's plenty to go on. I'm going to start with 10,000. Let's go 10,000 down to 100, and then we'll mix the hurdles in there as well too, and the steeple. Does that sound good?
So we'll only do running events for this one pod episode. But one question is, these picks that we're making on August 5th of 2020,
they're binding.
Do we have to marry these picks? Is that the rule? Like, can we divorce these picks in May of 2021 once we realize how dumb we were in August of 2020?
It's the famous 10 and a half month out forecast, right? That doesn't mean we can't do a 6 month out forecast or a 2 month out forecast as well too. It's just what we feel right now. But you do get extra points if one of these picks now ends up hitting, especially if you go bold, which, I don't know how bold you went here. There's not some patented Gordon random picks here, which I was
Maybe
surprised.
I'll change it up. Maybe I'll change it up. Maybe it's a smoke screen that I wrote down on the doc is not real.
I do see one that's a patented Gordon pick. But anyway, 10,000. Let's start there. A lot of interesting candidates here because of the trials for the marathon didn't go the way of Sisson and Huddle, so they will come back presumably and race. We also don't know which of the 5,000 meter runners will run this as well. Now, this comes in the trials. This comes before the 5,000, so you could do both. But if you're a 5,000 meter runner, primarily, we don't know whether or not you would take a shot at the 10,000. For the sake of my picks, I did not assume that Carissa Schweizer would run the 10,000. I just have her in the 5,000. If she does decide to do the 10,000, I would put her on the team. But as it is right now, I'm going to go with experience here. I'm going to go with Huddle, Sisson, and Emily Enfeld to get the 3 spots.
Good. I like it. So I'm going to start off with the bang, man. You ready for this bang I'm starting with?
Well, I see your picks.
What's the schedule? Oh, yeah. Well, I'm changing the picks already. I'm changing them already.
Okay.
So Huddle and Sisson are definitely making the team. They ran the marathon, didn't make it, and they are clearly the 2 best 10K runners, I think, in the nation almost 99% of the time. So Huddle and Sisson, I think, will go 1-2 in any order. I don't know. Doesn't matter. They'll go 1-2. Third place. So Emily Enfeld will be the hot pick for third place. However, I can see Enfeld maybe struggling with some injuries, not being there altogether because she's had a wild career, right? I mean, she has the bronze in what year was that?
2015.
15? Yeah, and then she was gone. She didn't run for like a whole year or two. So I'm not sure. I don't really have a lot of trust in the health of Enfeld. So I'm going with the wild card pick. I'm going with an athlete who sees the writing on the wall, right? And by the writing on the wall, she sees the event that she's currently in, the odds of her making the Olympic team are very extremely most likely not going to happen. So therefore, she's going to plan ahead and she's going to enter in this event and she's going to be top 3. And that athlete is Ali Ostrander. I think Ali Ostrander will abandon the 3K steeple, run the 10K, and make the team.
Wow. Okay, I like that pick. I like the strategy behind it because the steeple, spoiler alert, we're going to say it's going to be Frerichs, Coburn, Quigley in some order because it's going to be for the next 20 years. But so you also need to throw in there in terms of consideration, you got to throw in Merrill Hall, who's made teams before, right? You have to consider what does someone like Rachel Snyder, do you think she potentially gives it a shot in the 10,000, knowing that the 5,000 is so competitive? Steph Bruce, Kellen Taylor, et cetera. There's a lot there, but I like the Ostrander pick. Did she really even explore the 10,000 much when she was at Boise? I mean, she was really always focused on that 5K steeple double, which she won all those steeple titles, so it worked. And then the 5K was icing on the cake at that point, and just to do that was grueling. But yeah, I like that pick.
I mean, in 2019, she ran a 32:06.
Mm-hmm.
So in March, so I think it was by Stanford Invite. But I mean, she's run. I mean, her FloTrack PRs are 15:16 in the 5K, and 8:48 in the 3K. So she has some speed. Yeah. I think in the strength of a steepler, she's a 9:30 steepler. I just think if you're a 9:30 steepler and you're going up against a bunch of 9:10 steeplers, it's like, it's like 20 seconds. But like in that 10K, after the top 2, and if Enfeld is not 100%, there's a spot there to take. And I just think that, I mean, Ostrander comes from that background of like grinding races. I mean, she was a mountain runner, right? When she was like 12, maybe not 12, but like she was running up mountains in high school. And I think she's kind of built to be kind of a strength-based athlete. Right. And I think 10K is perfect for that. So I think maybe this is the big jump she makes. That's my thoughts.
Another wild card I'll throw out there is Taylor Werner of Arkansas. She obviously strong all the way down to the mile. We saw how well she did in cross country, but was good in the 10,000 as well too. She could factor in. It's going to be tough coming back after. Well, we don't know what the NCAA season is going to look like, but remember she ran super fast. She ran that super fast BU 5K, ran unattached. Otherwise, she'd be at the top of the record books there, right near the top
and
of
also,
the record books.
You got to also mention the Hoka athletes, right? Kellen Taylor and Steph Bruce. They should be in the mix as well. They were. Oh, you did already?
Yeah. I think you were Googling Alex 10K PR.
That's fine. Okay, sorry. Yeah, I was Googling. Yeah, but anyway, there's like 7 to 8 athletes, and I just think the wild cards, like you said, Taylor Warner, the collegiate wild card, and I think if Ostrander abandons the 3K steeple, she could be a big wild card. So we'll see.
All right, let's go to the 5,000. Let's go to the 5,000 now, which this one, again, we don't know. We don't know who's going to be running the 15. We don't know who's going to be running the 10K. The 1,500 comes before the 5K at the trials, but they overlap at the Olympics. So for the purposes of my picks, I assumed Shelby Houlihan is going to run the 1,500. And even if she does run the 5,000 in
she
Eugene,
won't take a spot.
Right. And what we're picking here is who gets the spots. We're not necessarily picking who's going to finish 1, 2, 3. What I think is going to happen, if you want me to go zoom out here and just tell you how it's all going to go down, I think Sifan Hassan is going to do the 5-10 double in Tokyo, which is going to open things up in the 15 for a run at gold for a lot of different women. Shelby Houlihan is one of them. You know, maybe Jerry in like June bumps into Pete Julian in the parking lot at Nike. He's like, "Hey, Pete, how's it going, man?" "Oh, good. How's everything? How's the family?" Good. So Sifan Hassan, she can run the 5, the 15, the 10, and maybe Pete Julian just does him a solid. Maybe Pete Julian lets him know, "Hey, we're not going to tell anybody because this is track and field and nobody gets to know what anybody's running literally up until they show up on the start line. But I will tell you, Jerry, she's going to do the 5 and the 10. So you can put, you know, your big gun in the 1,500 and have a run for gold." So I assume Shelby's not going to run the 15 or the 5. I'm assuming Simpson only runs the 5 if she doesn't make the 15. But I'll let you make your picks first.
Carissa Schweizer, Elle Purrier, and Shannon Rowberry. And thank God this podcast got delayed a month, because if I did this podcast a month ago, she would not have been even in my mind. But when you run 840 and then a 403, that's good enough to be top 3. And I think Shannon Rowberry also has the experience. I mean, she's made so many world teams, Olympic teams. This will be her swan song. I mean, maybe not. I mean, maybe she's going to be able to hold on till Eugene at least. But yeah, I think Rowberry is back, and I think she's needs to be considered in the same like veteran category that we look at Jenny Simpson, based on where she is right now as running 403 and 840. So Rowberry, Purrier, and Schweizer. I don't know the order. I'm not going to predict the order.
Well, Schweizer, I think, is the big favorite. You have the benefit there of the recent results. When we were going to do this exercise the first time, it was right after Cranny ran the 14:48, which who would have had Cranny on their team? But my initial notes had Schweizer, Purrier, and Cranny. You know, Purrier could make a run on that 15 though as well too. We saw how fast she ran that indoor mile, so it's not a lock. But I'm going to say that she just misses in the 15 and then comes back in the 5. And I'm going to keep those 3. I'm going to keep Schweizer, Purrier, and Cranny there. I mean, Schneider's going to be in the mix. Vanessa Frazier, if she gets healthy, is going to be in the mix. And of course, Rowberry is going to be right there. Do you have any wild cards in this one?
I mean, Infeld, if she doesn't make the 10K, Huddle or Sisson, if they don't make the 10K, right? Like it could be a 10K casualty who shows up and runs a fast 5. Danny Jones is a thought.
Yeah. I was going to say there's a scenario where we could have a 5K apocalypse, a 5-pocalypse, where
I was thinking about this the other day too.
Did we talk about this on the show? So here's the chaos scenario for the 5. Here's the chaos scenario for the women's 5,000. Huddle and Sisson, for some reason, don't make it in the 10,000. Houlihan and Simpson either opt to not run the 15 and run the 5, or for some reason there's a fall, something goes crazy, and they both don't make it in the 1500. So then you have Huddle, Sisson, Houlihan, Simpson, Schweizer, and who else? Everybody else pretty much
Purrier
thrown in there in the 15.
Purrier
Yeah,
and
Purrier.
Rowberry. Yeah,
right. In the 5,000, all fighting for 3 spots. That's the complete chaos scenario in the women's 5,000. I don't think they're going to get that many people in there, but this is a deep event. And that's not even talking about people like Frazier and Company who have run under 1450 this year.
Yeah, I kind of want that chaos to happen.
Oh, of course. You're an agent of chaos. Okay, so
agent of chaos.
Women's steeple, Coburn, Frericks, Quigley. Do we need to go any further on that?
No, is that Aliosh abandons it, goes for the 10K, better chance of making a team. I mean, if you're Ali, what do you do? If you're 930, do you have confidence that you can have a 20-second PR to compete with them in 1 year, or do you abandon it, or do you stick with it knowing you're not going to make the team, but you'll improve maybe 7 seconds, and the real goal is to make the 2024 team, so you don't want to abandon it now because maybe 4 years from now you will be that 910 runner that you think you can become, and you just, what would you do if you're her coach or if you're her?
I mean, you'd have 2 days off here. I'm looking at the schedule. So you'd have the 20th and the 21st off before the first round of the women's steeple. I'd probably run both, but it's tough to walk away from an event where you just made a team. But the reason she made the team, in part, was, U.S. got that 4th entry. Also, Quigley ended up getting hurt. But right now, it's so tough to crack into that top 3, and you're closer to getting 5th than you are to getting 3rd. It's weird to say, I'm 4th. I'm not going to give it a shot. But those 3 are so good in front of you, and Frericks and Coburn especially are so consistent. Yeah, I'd give the 10,000 a shot. I would give the 10,000 a shot, and I would run the steeple as well too, unless there's some sort of injury or some sort of unpredictable thing early on in the year where one of those 3 gets knocked down.
Yeah, there's also the factor of there were 4 people that went in 2019. You could say there could be 4 people that go in 2021, 4 people that go in 2023, because
don't abandon it entirely.
There's a chance that obviously they don't have the defending champion, but they now they can easily win the 2021 Diamond League or the 2020 Diamond League, right? I guess.
Right.
There's no Diamond League for steeple though, so maybe there's no Diamond League at large anymore for steeple, right?
That's a good point. I mean, maybe that doesn't seem. I didn't think about that. How is that? Well, I guess they just don't get a buy, right? No, because so there hasn't been a Diamond League 10,000, and there's just not a buy in that event. I mean, there's a buy for the reigning world champion, but there's not a second buy. So, yeah,
there's no more second buys for steeples.
Yeah, it's advantageous to be in events where they have a Diamond League. That's kind of weird in the thing like the 200, which it doesn't matter because Noah Lyles won it, so he's fine. But if Noah Lyles didn't win, that's a tough event to try to. Nope, don't get a buy because we took the 200 out of the Diamond League for some reason. So, good luck.
That's a good point.
Yeah, it is. It's okay, Ali Ostrander, if you're 4th. It's so weird. Any other 4th place person going into an Olympic year would be yes, that's your event. Go for it. All you got to do is move up 1 spot and you get on that Olympic team. But it's almost, to me, somewhat similar, at least on the domestic level, to the women's 400-meter hurdles, where it's you have Muhammad and you have Spencer. You have Muhammad and you have McLaughlin right there. Solid, rock solid, the 2 best in the world. And then you have just someone 1 step behind. It's you could be the 5th best women's 400-meter hurdler, but it's what's your path to getting to Tokyo? It's just very hard.
Yeah.
All right. 1,500?
Let's do 15.
What do you got? Yeah. What do you got?
I'm going first.
Yeah.
Houlihan, Hiltz, and Simpson. That's what I'm doing. At first, I had Simpson off. That was my wild take. I took Simpson off. She's going to miss the 1500, then make the 5K. She'll be the Brendan Martinez of 2021. That's what she did in 2016. But now that Rowberry is good, I couldn't really find a way to get Simpson on the 5K team. So then I was like, all right, gotta put her back onto the 15 team. So Houlihan, Hilton, Simpson. That's my result. I thought about Sinclair Johnson. I just, it's too much unknown. I mean, I don't know. Maybe if I did though, if Sinclair Johnson does make it, I would probably take off Hiltz. Right. So Houlihan and Simpson are just so veteran, so much that you just can't pick against them. As much as you want to kind of create chaos and pick the 8th best 1500-meter runner to make it, you know, pick like a Corey McGee or someone like that who just ran a fast mile a few weeks ago. I just can't. Houlihan, Hiltz, and Simpson.
Same team as 2019. That's what I have as well there too. Simpson making every team going back to 07 is hard to bet against. Yeah, Johnson though, Purrier, I'd put right there in that group. Kate Grace, if she runs the 15. Although I think most people, well, no, I don't know what people think. She could run the 800. I'll just say that. Yeah, I think Houlihan obviously is a complete lock. I think Simpson is just below that, but still in a very, very strong position. And that third spot is a little more open, but I just like the confidence that Hiltz runs with and the fact that she does have that closing speed. Johnson will be interesting to watch, though, because she's joining Bowerman. And they've done pretty well this summer. I don't know if you've been paying attention to them.
Yeah, I've been paying attention.
All right, 800.
All right, you go again. You go. This is almost chalk. The first two are chalk.
Yeah, I think Wilson and Rogers, if you're not picking Wilson or Rogers, you're just being a contrarian. And I went with Nia Akins for the third spot because there are so many people there. There's probably about 6 or 7 in that next tier. So I went with youth. I went with someone who's clearly on the upswing of their career. Now there's someone even younger in the event, someone like a Thing Mo, who you could definitely see getting a spot. You know, she made the final last year in Des Moines. But yeah, Chanel Price will be there. Maybe Charlene Lipsy will be back, and she'll be there. Sierra Brown will be there. Kate Grace will be there. Olivia Baker. There'll be a lot of people in that group. So I wouldn't begrudge anybody for picking a different number 3, but Wilson and Rogers are the clear top 2 for me.
So then I hope you don't begrudge me because I'm going with Kate Grace for that third spot. I think she 99.9% chance would have made the world team last year if she would have just decided to run the semifinals of the 800, you know, but she opted to like go all in on the 1500 and then it didn't work out. She got like 5th and like, I think she's going to learn from that. She's going to but some of these athletes just think that like, have a lot more confidence in themselves than a third party has in them. And so maybe that self-confidence will make Grace say, I don't care about what happened in 2019. I believe I can make a 1500-meter team. But I just think Grace will make an 800-meter team if she ran it. So I think Kate Grace can run a 159 low, 158 high. And if you can do that, I think that will be faster than an Akins or the Thing Mo, Sammy Watson, Sierra Brown, all those people. I think if she can run 158 high, you'll make the team.
Now that we finished the distance and mid-distance events, let's take a look back at the Bowerman count, because you actually don't have that many. I mean, Grace is 1. Then you have Houlihan in there. That's 2. Frerichs and Quigley, 3 and 4. Schweizer, 5, but she's the only one you have in the 5,000. You don't have any in the 10,000. So you have 5 Bowerman women making the team, which is still an impressive amount. But I think if you set an over-under, it would probably be something like 5.5.
Yeah. I mean, 5 in 5 events is 1 per team, right? One per event. It's pretty good. Average 1 per event.
Yep, that the math checks out on that one. I have Enfeld in the 10, and I have Cranny in the 5 along with Schweizer, but I don't have Grace. So I'm at 6. I'm at 6. But you can see a scenario. I mean, if Sinclair Johnson gets on the team, if Mariel Hall gets on the team, Vanessa Frazier could get on the team. They certainly have a lot of candidates for those spots. Let's go to the sprints and hurdle events. Let's just start first with the 400 hurdles, because you got Muhammad, you got Sydney McLaughlin, and then I went with Spencer to repeat the team from 2019. I also looked at, because McLaughlin and Muhammad are so good in the 400. I was interested. I thought, is a 400 meter hurdle double possible? And this is how it goes. Do you want to hear the schedule? I love schedules.
Sure. Hit me.
August 1st, 400 meter hurdle first round. This is Olympics. This isn't trials. Trials is 400 in the first part, and then there's 4 days off, and then 400 meter hurdles. So in the trials, it's certainly possible. This is the Olympics. 400 hurdles, day off. First round 400 hurdles, day off. 400 hurdles semis. Then the next day, 400 first round. Then the next day, 400 hurdles final. The next day, 400 semis. Next day off. And then the last day, 400 final. So it would be, you never would need to overlap, except for August 5th, when the 400 meter hurdle final is in the morning, Gordon. The 400 meter hurdle final is in the morning, and then the semis for the 400 is in the evening.
So the double at the Olympics is not. Yeah, it's
not happening.
No one's doing that. But the double at the trials is possible, right? So you're saying it starts with the 400 hurdles first, or 400 first?
It starts with the 400 in the first part of the event, or the first part of the meet, and then there's that 4 days off because you have those 2 middle days where they've been doing the hammer throw, and then it'd be the 400 meter hurdles for the last.
Okay, so if you're Spencer or Little, do you run the 400?
Yes, based on what we know about the 400 now, which is, we can get to that event right now. It's wide open. Waddle and Jonathan was awesome last year, 49.6, got 4th, but then there's a lot of question marks there.
Because worst comes to worst, Spencer or Little, all they need to do is get like 8th, right? And then you're at least in the relay pool. And then you're like, all right, at least I'm going to the Olympics. And then now you're trying to make an individual team.
Yeah. No,
I think Spencer
100%.
and Little, if they're smart, they should. Yeah. Sorry, keep interrupting each other. I think Spencer and Little should definitely run the 400, because they might not get top 3, but if you go 7th or 8th, you're an Olympian, and now you can just take 4 days off and rest, and now prepare to try to make a hurdle team. So I think
and Spencer's really good in the 400. She's always been really good in the 400. She's still really good in the 400. I think she could make the final. I don't think that'd be a question, because like, I'm looking at the 400 team, and I didn't do this just to bother you, but I have Allison Felix on that team, in part because you pick Jonathan, you pick Shakima Wimbley, who was hurt at Worlds but still on the up and up, and then it's a big group of people. There's people like Kendall Ellis in that next group. There's people like really young people like Lena Irby or other collegians coming up, but I think Felix is right there with a chance. Yeah, Okolo. But they're not that much. They weren't that much better than Felix last year, and Felix was coming back after racing like once. Like, she debuted at USA's. I think that was pretty nuts to get 6th last year in her debut. And the event as a whole isn't as deep as it's been. So I went with Felix. It's a bit of a reach, I'll admit. Like, I don't think she's the highest odds to finish 3rd, but nobody is jumping off the page in this event after the top 2, I'd say.
Here's a question. What does USATF do in this situation? Oh, for the record, I'm going with Wimbley, Jonathan, and Ellis for my 400.
Okay. That's fine.
And you're going with Felix instead of Ellis. So imagine chaos. I love chaos. The 400 hurdles, man, like, you could be the best, but like, it's easy to fall, right? You could easily trip. Like, you could be in the best shape of your life and just trip on the 9th hurdle and like, damn it, right? So if Sydney McLaughlin or Dalilah Muhammad were to trip on the 9th hurdle, right, and not make the team because Spencer and then one of the other, and then Little make the team. Would they find a way to put McLaughlin or Muhammad on the 4x4 pool, or would they not be allowed to because they didn't compete in the 400?
Yeah, I don't think they can. I think you can, in the relay pool, you can use anybody who makes the team in any event, right? And you also can you use whoever finished. Well, in previous years, it was top 6 in the open 4, but now that there's the mixed gender, we think that that's going to expand a little bit deeper to the top 8. No, you couldn't do them. They wouldn't be on the team. That's
Isn't
track.
That stupid,
that's
though?
how it works. No, that's how track works.
That's stupid.
Kenny Harrison didn't qualify in 2016 for the Olympics. Went on and broke the world record. She was on the Olympic team.
Yeah. Well, it's just like Team USA should run the fastest. Yeah, it is track. It is how it works. But that would be wild, right? That's why I think all these 400-meter hurdlers need to all run. They should. Those top 4 hurdlers need to all be like, hey, let's all agree that we're the best 4. And whether we run the 400 for the few days before this rounds of 400 hurdles, whether we run it or don't run it, we're still to be the best 4. There's no one else who's going to break our top 4. So let's make a pact. Let's all run the 400. Let's all make the 400-meter final. Let's all just like secure our spot at the Olympics in the relay, and then let's have our 400 hurdle competition.
I get it as an insurance policy, but I don't think Dillon Muhammad and Sydney McLaughlin plan on hitting hurdles. I don't think their minds work that way, and they're thinking, let's just going to wear me out. And then you do it. You're right. Also, the funny thing is, so remember when Kenny Harrison broke the world record, and everyone's like, they need to change the rule. The U.S. needs to send her. And then you know what happened when the U.S. went to Rio, not hurdles?
They went 1, 2, 3.
They went 1, 2, 3. Yeah. Do you know what would happen if one of these women didn't make the 4x4 team? What would happen to Team USA in the 4x4? They'd still win by about a second. Yeah, it's not gonna.
That's true.
It's not gonna be different.
That's true.
It's not gonna be different.
That's true.
Go to that team.
All right.
200, 100, and the 100 hurdles. Yeah, 200. Weird event. Always a weird event. It's going to be a weird event next year because, let's see, Shana Miller-Weibo may not run it. She may run it. We're not sure. Dina Asher-Smith is the reigning world champion. Shelly-Ann Fraser-Price didn't run it last year. Elaine Thompson didn't run it last year. And on and on and on and on and on. So there actually is a chance for U.S. medal, just like there was last year when Brittany Brown got the silver. I kept Brittany Brown there because she got a silver medal. And even though the field was weak, that's still a silver medal. Angie Nellis is the real deal. She was just behind in Doha, 22:16. She got 4th. And then for the 3rd spot, man, it was tough to find somebody. But I'm predicting a comeback year. I'm predicting a comeback for Jenna Prandini. She ran her PR in 2018, which I didn't realize. And she, of course, made teams in 15 and 16. So this would be her first team in a few years. But I'm thinking Prandini squeaks onto the squad.
So I agree with Prandini, but I don't agree with her in a 200. I think she's better than the 100, so I'll get to her when we talk about the 100. But my 200, Anellis, I agree with you, Brittany Brown, mainly because I think the 200-meter event is the weakest sprint event for the U.S. So I think that if you're second in the world, you can make top 3 in the U.S. It's not that deep of an event because a lot of the top sprinters are running the 400 or the top sprinters are running the 100, right? Like, that's just how it is. And then my big time pick, which I think she's going to be the kind of the everyone's going to be talking about her because I think she's going to, assuming now that we're having NCAA competition in 2021, which fingers crossed, hope we are. But if we are, I think this runner is going to be like a 2-time NCAA champion going into the trials, and that's Abby Steiner of Kentucky. I think that she is going to be the equivalent of what a Jenna Prandini was going into the trials, what Hannah Cunliffe was, or what Ariana Washington, like all those Oregon people, basically.
Deja Stevens.
Deja Stevens, yeah. They were like just lighting it up and then go into the trials and run well, or USA's and run well. And I think Abby Steiner is going to be that athlete. She's going to be that collegiate athlete who dominates. I mean, she was a sophomore last year. She'll be a junior this year. She She improved really well from freshman to sophomore year. We never saw it because there was no NCAA indoors, but she was like 4th in the nation as a sophomore. It was ready to break out. And I think Abby Steiner from Kentucky will be in the top 3.
22, 25.
She's a soccer player.
Got to drop some out of the pier. Yeah, you got you bring her up almost as much as Emmanuel Career. It's getting Emmanuel Career level picks here from Gordon. Let's go to hopefully she fares better with your picks than Career did or Nathan Allen. Anyway,
hold on. Wait.
Career's
you have
fine.
to give me a little bit of credit when I said, okay, yeah, he's at 139. But when I said that Career could potentially medal in the 400, you laughed me out of the. You laughed at me, but he was in the conversation. He made the final. He got 6th, right? I'm just saying, Career can. But when he made the final, in the back of your head, you and Lincoln were like, "God damn it, Gordon might be right."
No, anyways,
before that final,
he barely got it. He didn't make the 800 final. You said he was going to make the final in both. Come on. What Brazier turn is what you thought Career would be. I think we can say that at this point, right? Will you admit that?
Sure.
Okay. Brazier's the guy who has a chance to world record.
I think the only person who can beat Brazier will be Career. I don't think it's Amos. I think Career will be the one that will beat Brazier. I'm going to say that.
He's younger.
The person who will be thrown Brazier, whether it's in 2021, 2022, or 2023, or 2024, it's going to be Career.
Look, it's good. He's good, and it's amazing to make teams and make it to world championships in the 4 and the 8. Like that's impressive.
He made the 400 meter final, and he's not a 400 meter runner. Think about that.
I know. No, I know. But you talked him up as if he was going to run 139 because you actually said 139 with him. So you put him way up on the
injured.
pencil.
He got injured, man. He got injured. He did get injured.
Right, and nobody. Okay. No, he was.
I don't know. I just feel like if Donovan Brazier got 6th in the world in the 400, everyone would be freaking out. It's because he's not American, so it's kind of no one's kind of recognizing it. But if a primarily 800 meter runner in America just decided to hop in the 400, if Donovan decided to hop in the 400 at the trials and gets 5th in the 400, people will be like, "That's hilarious!" This mid distance guy is just coming in and stomping on these 400 meter runners, right? And that's what Career was doing, but at the world level.
You don't think Brazier could run 44.9?
I think he could.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, 100%.
I mean, the 400 was a bit weird last year with Norman not even making the final.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
We
100.
We digress. Sorry. Let's move over to the women's 100. Women's 100.
Okay. Feeling good about Sha'Carri Richardson, 1075 last year, and has run some good marks this year in these smaller meets. Next year will actually be her first full year as a pro with a normal season, assuming there's a normal season. Twanisha Terry, I have in there as well too. A quiet 5th last year at USA's, and she's run under 11 seconds. And in that 3rd spot, somebody who was having a good year and I think would have got more people's attention. And she's a former NCAA champion, so people know who she is. But Micaiah Briscoe was still young, 24, won indoors. I had her as that 3rd pick, but man, this event, there's so many people in this event. There's no clear favorite right now. Well, actually, that's not true. There's Sha'Carri Richardson. Sha'Carri Richardson's a favorite, but there's no clear top 3. There's a lot of people in the mix.
Well, if Sha'Carri Richardson's the favorite, I'm going to look like a doofus because I don't even have her making the team. Because I'm going with Terry, which I agree with you, the USC star. Prandini, who I think will have a comeback and she'll be good in the 100. And I think Tiana Daniels, who's consistent. I think Tiana Daniels is like the Mike Rogers of the women's 100. Just finds a way to be there every year. Does nothing flashy, but it's always there. Always will make the 4x1. That's my equivalence there. Well, so I think Daniels, Terry, and Prandini. And she's younger.
Yeah, I mean that's your worst. That's your worst pick, keeping Richardson off the team. But that's fine. Everybody's allowed one bold pick. I think. I guess I don't even really have one that was that outlandish. If my boldest pick is Felix is going to make the Olympic team, which most people probably assume to be true. What about the high hurdles? What do you got there? I'm scrolling down. Here we go. Mm-hmm.
Kenny Harrison, Nia Ali, Brianna McNeil.
Okay, I went Harrison, Nia Ali, and then I went with Tania Marshall because she's another one where, another one. You can always pencil in there's going to be some collegiate who's going to make a run towards the trials. I may not put them on the team, but they're going to be there. And Tania Marshall was really good indoors and would have run, I think, really fast in Albuquerque and then gone on and been the big favorite outdoors. But she didn't get that opportunity. So I think there's going to be somebody new on that squad, and I think it's going to be Marshall. So I'll have her making one of the most difficult teams out there. That's all I got.
It.
You got anything? You got anything?
I'm gonna search NCAA on Twitter one last time.
I'm gonna make my marathon. While you do that, I'm gonna make my marathon picks. So I think Sally Kipyego is gonna make the team. I know it's like her marathon debut, but I'm feeling really good about Molly Seidel. And she's actually done some training. Wild. She's actually done some training with Alfine Tuliamuk, who solid, but I think she's going to have one of the best days of her life. She's built for that course. So I think it's a team that nobody's really talking about, a combo of people. The shoes won't be that big of an issue because you're going to have Tuliamuk, Molly Seidel, and then Sally Kipyego making the marathon women's team. No Huddle or Sisson. It's going to be no Hisse. It's going to be crazy.
You know, that little bit you just did while I was looking up NCAA on Twitter, it was hilarious.
I'm trying to fill hilarious. Time here, man.
You're filling time. You're doing a great job. There's no update on this NCAA. It's morning now. It's 10:08. It's 10:08 in the Central Time Zone, and they said they would make an announcement in the morning. I mean, when does morning not become more? I guess it's not morning after 12. That's when it becomes not morning. Maybe they're pretending to be in Hawaiian time, and they're just going to let it ride as long as possible to say, hey, well, it's the morning in Hawaii, and Hawaii is an NCAA institution. You know, that's probably what they're going to say. Anyway,
interesting.
No update. We'll probably talk about it tomorrow. Live from the Marriott Hotel in Harrisonburg, Virginia.
All right. Sounds good. Email us, FloTrackPodcast@gmail.com. Thanks to Alon for producing. Thanks to you, Gordon, for co-hosting. We will talk to you tomorrow.